So here we are. And before we move on to what everybody wants to hear about, who's going to be the next head coach, just kind of give us your thoughts on. So there are situations in which you can evaluate, okay, big time college football program, this guy was not ready for it versus maybe not the right fit. Maybe he's still really good. He could handle it somewhere else. It just didn't work for whatever reason. Why do you think that Billy Napier eventually did not succeed in Gainesville?
Stubbornness, Mark. That's the number one. I did not want to. Sorry, I hope I'm not getting sick because I've just been running like crazy, so my nose is bothering me a little bit. Stubbornness. He didn't want to give up play calling, Mark. I mean, it was even mentioned by athletic director Scott Strickland in the press conference on Monday, saying, "Yeah, look, that is a huge contributor to why he's not here anymore. It's because Billy Napier refused to give up play calling duties as a head coach." Look, I'm all for coaches when you get a new job to be afforded the opportunity to do the way you want it to do. And the way that it got, with what got you here. And that was play calling for Billy Napier. But then when it's obvious it's not going to work or it's a detriment to your team, then don't be so stubborn and make the move at some point. Don't be stubborn. Don't be so, hills in the sand and refuse to do it. He just did not adapt to not wanting to call plays. He wanted to be a head coach that called plays. So it ultimately cost him his job, Mark. And not only, the offense was up and down. It had its high points and it had its low points. It was never really consistent. That was the biggest mark to it for me. But at the same time, while he was doing those things, there were always questions of game management. And those always kind of reared their head with a Billy Napier team at Florida, whether it be time management, game management, timeout usage, penalties, just having a good feel for the game. It was almost non-existent here for Billy Napier at Florida. And it just, in today's college football, Mark, head coaches have a lot on their plate. And college football changed when Billy Napier got the Florida job. It timed out with NIL. It timed out with the transfer portal. Head coaches had to become more than head coaches, or a different style of head coach than what had been there before. And I understand he wanted to call plays, but Mark, if you're going to do it, you better be elite at it. And Billy Napier was never elite at it to begin with. So he's just too slow to change, stubborn to change, and it ultimately cost him his job.
Got David Waters joining us, of course, from Gators Breakdown. It's one of the top college football podcasts, not just of Florida football. And you can catch it right here on YouTube, of course, but also on your favorite audio platform, one of the top and most popular college football podcasts on the audio side as well, on your favorite audio platform. Every time I do some kind of search to look for the next candidate, the next guy, I'm seeing Lane Kiffin more than anyone. He's everywhere. So just your thoughts about the feasibility of that and where that may land.
I think it's feasible, Mark. Maybe more so feasible if Florida had made this move a year ago. I think what does come into question a little bit, won a lot of Ole Miss last year, barely missed the playoff, is going to win a lot of games this year. So do the wins add up to where, Lane Kiffin thinks, well, okay, I can win here. The landscape of college football has changed a little bit, but I still think there's some, benefits at Florida that you just don't get at Ole Miss with, high school recruiting. I think you can still maybe build it a little more consistently at Florida, not have to live in the transfer portal so much like Ole Miss is going to have to do. And they did a great job at it. That's what's put them in position to win a lot of games the last couple of years at there. But as we've seen with Florida State, if you live in that world for a lot, it can go the other way as well. But Ole Miss is, proven now 2 years in a row they can hit the portal pretty heavy and have some success. But, the Florida job is, I think, a job he's always coveted in the past. He's had some connections to the state of Florida. Monty Kiffin, his dad there at Tampa, and him kind of just being along that. Wife Layla, John Reeves, the connection there. So there's been some connections to the state of Florida. And not long ago, him coming out and saying, hey, yeah, you know what? Steve Spurrier, idol of mine, basically, growing up watching Steve Spurrier. So it's just it makes sense in a lot of ways. It's the type of brash personality Florida likes, the offensive personality Florida likes. It would just be, does Lane Kiffin want the job in today's new college football world? So it's going to be his name is going to be there till you hear of a no coming from Lane Kiffin, and Florida might get one no, might have to go back to the well a couple of times. And how many no's will Florida take before they move on to the next guy? But looking like from the Florida side, Mark, he's going to be priority number one, and he's going to have to tell Florida no.
Folks, we got David Waters on the line from Gators Breakdown. If you've got a candidate on the coaching side for Florida, throw it in the chat. I'll throw it at David. If it's a viable candidate here, I'm going to throw two that will probably take you all of about 8 seconds to answer, but I'm going to throw them out there anyway because they're out there on social media. And of course, it starts with Urban Meyer, and then it's Dan Mullen, because obviously they were coaches at Florida.
I don't think Urban's, I don't think he's going to get an offer. I don't even know if he wants to come back to coaching. Dan Mullen, no. I mean, just went through that. So,
okay.
Yes, the landscape has changed, and maybe he would fit in a little bit more. But you're not. Mark, can we think of a time that's really happened?
Where guys come back?
Yeah.
I did a video actually with Rich Rodriguez coming back to West Virginia for a second time, and Scott Frost back to UCF.
Yeah.
This was the theme of my video. It doesn't work the second time. Every coach, I went through like 13 coaches in recent college football history that went back to the same school. Bill Walsh, all sorts of guys, John Robinson, never succeeded anywhere close to the second time as they did the first time.
And the two recent ones you mentioned was they left on their own accord. They weren't fired.
Yes.
I mean,
yeah, very true, very true. They were wanted, they were like doing well, rolling along, and they decided to.
I mean, now Urban, of course, Urban wasn't fired. Urban left.
Sure.
And so, I mean, that's why, yes, there's no bad blood or anything like that. But for Dan Mullen, you fired him. That doesn't happen.
So John Sumrall comes up as well from Tulane, but would there be a portion of the fan base or others that would be a bit reserved in that, okay, we went the group of 5 route before, and even though this guy's really good, and they're two different coaches, they're two different people, it still doesn't have the right look to it.
Yeah, I mean, especially coming from Tulane, it's another Louisiana school, and we're going that route again. And look, throw Alex Golish into that too at USF. Of course, beat Florida earlier this season. There's going to be the two hot, lower tier names I think that are going to be out there for a lot of these jobs that are going to be out there. Summerall, Golish, you'll hear that. Look, I think those guys can be pretty successful coaches. I just don't know if Florida can afford to go that route. Of course, they're not going to go that route by choice. They'll have to miss on a few guys before Florida wants to go and jump into the lower level and bring a guy back up.
So are you pounding your fist for anybody in particular? Like, hey, we need him. This is the guy.
Lane is that guy. I just think the personality fits. Knowing how much the fan base wants as well, there'd be like immediate support. There'd be great reaction to it. NIL reaction, joining the collective action. It would all be there for Lane Kiffin, as the comment says right there. Yeah, it's Kiffin or bust for a lot of Gator Nation out there. So it's certainly that would be the one that just the fan base buys in. Most of the fan base buys into right away. So I saw the comments too. Marcus Freeman's name. I think you call if Lane Kiffin says no, you call him to make him tell you no. I think Florida goes big game hunting to begin with, and you go from there. I don't think Florida's going to settle. Florida's not going to go lower level, and then start working down the list a little bit. Eli Drinkowitz, Kenny Dillingham.
Okay. Yeah.
Problem with those 3 guys, they're out their alma maters. Are they going to leave their alma maters? That's except for Drinkowitz, of course. But some of the other ones I mentioned, it might be a hard pull because they're there winning. Throw Brom in there as well at Louisville. I mean, it'd be hard. It might be a hard pull because of where they went to school. So, and now where they coach. So, I think that's the majority of the list that you see out there. It's those names that are going to make up Florida's coaching search.
And in most seasons, David, as you well know, if we went down, I think you just listed 6 coaches that are all really good respected head coaches, most seasons we'd say, well, Florida's got to be at or right there in terms of the best job available. But man, we got an off season headed our way that might be completely unprecedented. Florida State, could be Auburn, Wisconsin, on down the line, Oklahoma State, Virginia Tech, Penn State, etc. Maybe some others I'm missing off the top of my head, but man, just all sorts of big jobs open. So there's going to be a rush to get.
Yeah, for sure. Sorry, Bill, I lost you there for a second.
No worries.
There's going to be a rush. As you mentioned, Auburn, FSU, and Mark, it'd be another interesting angle to this coaching search. Last time Florida had a coaching search, it was Florida and Miami. Now it might be Florida and Florida State. So interesting angle to it there from the Florida side to your in-state rivals. Last two coaching searches, you're searching for coaches at the same time. But yeah, Penn State, Auburn, FSU. I mean, if all those come open, there's your competition, driving prices up, maybe taking a guy you want. Interesting angle to it all.
David Waters, Gators Breakdown. David, we appreciate you stopping by. Before you head out the door, any reason to watch this Florida football team the rest of the year? Like players, I guess DJ Lagway would be at the top of the list in terms of seeing him progress and see what his 2026 might look like. But, there's obviously still some talent on this team that needs to be retained.
Yeah, for sure. Going to start there with DJ Lagway, Vernell Brown III, Dallas Wilson. You got some freshmen that you're really excited about at the receiver spot there for Florida. Brown's hurt, so we'll see how long he's out. We'll see if we can get some update on him. If you mentioned talking about watching the team the rest of this season. Did learn today that Ryan O'Hara is going to be the play caller with Billy Gonzalez being the interim coach for the Gators. We did learn that yesterday, of course, but now we learned today that while Russ Callaway will still be offensive coordinator in title, Ryan O'Hara will be the one calling the plays here for the Gators. We mentioned on the defensive side of the ball, Miles Graham, Aaron Childs, LJ McCray, young guys that you'd like to build around. Coming up, retaining for another year, whoever takes over for Florida. So, I mean, the reason to watch, Mark, is we've seen some coaching changes this year pay off with programs and turn it around a little bit. Florida's still been very competitive in the games this year, so it's not out of the realm of possibility that they could go steal a few wins, ruin a few seasons here in the last month and a half of the season.
Gators Breakdown, everyone, get there. And it's also on audio, your favorite platform that you can catch David and the rest of the crew right there. Rest, fluids, do all those good things, David, to get yourself back 100%.
And we'll try one more episode tonight, Mark, and hopefully a slower day tomorrow.
Absolutely. Well, thanks for being here, man.
All right. Thanks, Mark.
David Waters, Gators Breakdown.